Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wanna Sumo. We are the Sumo Bros. Corey and Connor. How's it going, Connor?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing very good. The Hatsu Basho just wrapped up last night. An interesting tournament. I do know it's been a while since we've posted something, so we must have talked about this in previous episodes. We are a bit busy with other things, so this is sort of like something to do when we have the time, which 2025 we didn't have a lot of time. I think it was 10 months ago, our last episode, which was the Haru Basho. Connor is actually a vice president of the Beausejour Senior Hockey League, and I'm part of the podcast for that same hockey league, and also run a YouTube channel for old school wrestling and also a maritime wrestling podcast. So, Connor, how have you been since last time we talked on Wanna Sumo?
Good. I think I'm more into it now. 2025 I found kind of boring. Like, it's nice to see guys win all the time, but like, I don't know, this Basho had a lot of drama. Yeah. It was pretty unpredictable.
2025 was a year of change, in my opinion, for sumo, because we see like Teruno Fuji, he retired, Taka Keisho, he retired, and for me, like, I'm not gonna say that I've been watching sumo for too long. It's almost been 10 years. 2018 is when I really started to watch. But a lot of the guys that I was watching, there's a handful of these guys left. There's Daisho, there's Tamoashi, there's Takayasu. But yeah, there's a big change coming in sumo. The last time that we talked on this channel, Teruno Fuji was the Yokozuna. Now we have two new Yokozunas, and Teruno Fuji is retired. The two new Yokozunas is Onosato and Hoshoryu. And the first point that I have on my notes here is two injured Yokozuna enter the Hatsu Basho.
Yeah, Hoshoryu shedded some skin.
Yeah, he took a header and draw some blood. I respected him there because it was a Torinooshi, which means a rematch, and got the win with a bloody forehead. But I know Hoshoryu has a bum knee. Onosato was literally a one-armed fighter and still ended the tournament with a 10-5. Hoshoryu also had a 10-5. Yoshino Fuji was the first one to catch my eye. He ended the tournament, I believe, with an 8-7, which was, it's a Kachikoshi. It is what it is.
For anybody unfamiliar, formerly known as Kazano.
Yeah. He gets two Kimboshis here, beating both Yokozunas on back-to-back days. And this sort of became the decline for Onosato and Hoshoryu. There were some matches here where Onosato was literally going in with his right shoulder because his left shoulder was just damaged.
Yeah, Yoshino Fuji looked quite strong. I mean, it's kind of odd to me that he finished 8-7.
Yeah.
He had, I don't know, 2 weeks is a long time. Like, you know, you could start off real hot and end up low, or you could start off with one win in the first week and end up with a Kachikoshi.
Yeah, it's unpredictable. I know, Connor, that your favorite sumo wrestler right now is none other than Ao Nishiki.
Yeah.
What drawed you to Ao Nishiki?
Well, when I started, I should say when you got me into sumo, I would pretty much stay up for the entire thing. Like, the first spa show I watched, I think, I would say 90% of it, I watched all of it. And I liked that he was, well, one, he's different because he's not Japanese or Mongolian. Yep. And he's young, and he was just winning a lot. But he got me into the lower divisions. So, I mean, I followed him. I think he might have been in Sendamne when I started watching.
It's possible.
And I've watched him since. So it's not one of those like I just like them now. It's been cool to watch them from the very bottom. It's hard to keep track of which division he was in there for a little bit because it changed so much. But
Yeah.
I guess he was in Makushita. He was Makushita 40 when I started watching.
Okay.
But I just found it fascinating that like he wasn't a local and he wasn't losing barely at all. I mean, I think he had 2 losses when I started watching him.
That's crazy. Aonishiki won the Emperor's Cup, the last Basho, which would have been Kyushu, I believe, in November. He wins his second one here. There were some confusion. No, he will not be Yokozuna. Now, for the next Basho in March, then he's in contention. But you need 2 tournament wins, or like an equal record that would have amounted to a win. Like, let's say a 14-1, even though you don't win. He just became an Ozeki. This was his first Basho as an Ozeki. And a little bit of a fun fact here. Aonishiki is the first to win the Yusho on Ozeki debut since Hakuho in 2006. So that's
almost 20 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because Hakuho is the greatest ever. Like
The general consensus is that most people that were talking about it, like the different sumo channels, have said that they think that if he goes 13-2 with the Jun Yusho, that he could potentially, like, that'll put him in pretty good standing. Yeah. But they think like if he goes only 12-3 and doesn't win, it might be a little hard. I mean, they were kind of hard on him for that Ozeki promotion, but I mean that came out of nowhere. Like,
yeah, it's something. My prediction. Me and you, we've talked before about what we think 2026 is going to hold for sumo. I don't see Hoshoryu finishing the year. I think he retires before that. I think there's so many Yokozunas from the past that you see that they went hot for 2. They become an Ozeki. They get really hot for 2 Bashos, and then it's like they fall right off a cliff. Some of them never even win another Yusho.
It's interesting too because the Sumo Association keeps a lot of things under wrap. So it's a double-edged sword because if they know Hoshoryu's injured, which we all know, but we don't know how bad it is going. How bad is it? You know, is it a couple tournaments and he's just fighting through an injury to not take time off? But they're talking about Aonishiki, like he'll become East Ozeki because he had the higher record. So that would put him on the same side as Hoshoryu. But are they going to be easy on him to get his Yokozuna promotion? Or are they going to make it tough? I think it all depends on the status of Hoshoryu.
Yeah, I think when Hoshoryu won the tournament to become Yokozuna, he had to win a playoff.
Right.
And we're going to get to a playoff in a second. But I think that extra win right there, winning in a playoff, because I think he had like a 13-2 or maybe high. A 12-13, something like that. But that extra win, I think they looked at that and said, well, he won an extra match. So maybe we can just give him that because I don't see... Hoshoryu as a Yokozuna to me has been a failure. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. But he got there. This is the equivalent of a world heavyweight title, basically. You're the main event guy. He's paled in comparison to Ono Sato. And if you're asking me, yes, Hoshoryu, he beat Ono Sato in the final day, the Battle of the Yokozunas. Who was more impressive, Ono Sato or Hoshoryu? Ono Sato all the way. He literally was his left arm to the side, right arm out, pushing people out of the dojo. That's insane. That's insane. You're at the top of the game, right, winning matches with one arm. That's crazy.
That's kind of brings me back to that point about Aonishiki. Like, are they going to want 3 Yokozunas if he doesn't win the next Basho? Are they gonna give it to him with the Junyu show? Who knows? They already have two. But that's the big question. Like, are they fine with one Yokozuna if they need to just have Onosato? Like, it's always different. But I think right now, whatever they do, it's setting a precedent for the future. Because when you look at the rankings, right now there's not very many guys who I think have that toughness and that grit. Like, Aonishiki looks above most of the guys that he fights.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting part for him is, and I thought about this the other night, when they move him to East Ozeki, he's going to be fighting the west side that he was on.
Yeah.
So we're going to see him fight guys, a lot of people that he never fought before.
That's true.
So if he can go through everybody like that and beat the other side, I think maybe they'll give it to him with the Junyu show. But I honestly don't think that we have to worry about that. I think that this kid is locked in.
I think let's just say that for March, Onosato is not ready. He pulls out. His shoulder needs more time to rest and all that. I think that's, if you're Aonishiki, you pounce. You pounce and you don't even look back. Because a healthy Onosato probably takes the Yusho.
Well, and he's never beat Onosato.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to fight him regardless if he is healthy.
Yeah.
On the west side.
Yeah. Unless Onosato pulls out. That's what I'm saying. If March Onosato is not there, like, we're still 2 months away from that. It'll be interesting because my prediction for 2026 is Hoshoryu retires, but we still finish with two Yokozunas, and that being Onosato and Aonishiki. I think Aonishiki gets it.
Well, and the interesting thing too is Aonishiki would become the third youngest Yokozuna. He'll actually, if he wins the Basho, it'll be on his birthday.
That would be awesome.
He'll turn 22. Now, the two that are older than him, I believe, are Tahoe and I forget who the youngest Yokozuna ever was.
I don't remember either.
It is Kitanumi.
Kitanumi, that's right.
So those are two pretty good, like, those are two pretty big stars in sumo.
Absolutely.
So those are, that tells us that he's in it. I mean, it's the quickest anybody's ever been promoted to Ozeki. It'd be the third, well, it might be the quickest anybody's ever been promoted to Yokozuna, because I know they were younger, but I don't know if they started around the same time he did. I'd have to look into that. But, I mean, he's done some very interesting things here.
Yeah.
And I think win or lose, he's set the tone.
Absolutely.
Like, people, the other stables have to be watching this and thinking like, okay, who's going to do this next? Because there's a ton of people in the bottom divisions that, like, we just saw a new 15-year-old debut.
Yeah.
Like, to put it in perspective, Aonishiki's 21.
Yeah.
I mean, if that kid is good enough, hypothetically, you have 6 years to be that good and be the same age.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things happening in the lower divisions that just aren't talked about as much because not everybody watches them.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting. Like, he's had to go through a lot of different wrestlers to get to where he is that quick.
Absolutely.
He's only got a handful of losses.
Yeah. The finals of the Hatsu Basho ended up being a playoff between Atami Fuji and Aonishiki. And I'm going to say I was rooting for Aonishiki here. I'd love to see him get Yokozuna. You got to feel for Atami Fuji, though. He had a hell of a Basho. He ends the Basho with a 12-3 as well. It's a Junyu show, but,
Do you think he'll be promoted? There'll be an opening for Komusubi. Oho will definitely be demoted, I would think. Like, I mean, 4-11, so that opens Komusubi.
What ranking is Atami Fuji right now?
Megashira 4, and I believe he needs to be Megashira 5 or less to get a promotion.
I think at the lowest he probably gets Magashira 1. I think they probably give him. I think they give him Komusubi. I don't think that's.
There's not really anybody else. Like Wakataka Kage is 9 and 6, so but he's on the other side. I can't imagine they're going to move him over just to give him a Komusubi. I would say if anybody gets it, it'd be a Tamifuji.
I agree. I think he gets it. One guy that I want to talk about, and it's funny because I was a huge Taka Keisho fan, and when he retired, I'm like, well, there goes my favorite. And now I'm following a few different guys. I'm a fan of Onosato. Takayasu has always been one that I enjoyed. Ura's one that I enjoy, and Shishi's the other one that I enjoy. Koto Zakura, he ends the Basho with an 8 and 7. And as I'm watching this Basho, I'm thinking, is Koto Zakura the new Taka Keisho? The forever Ozeki? He might win a Bosch, he might win a Yusho, but he's like that forever Ozeki, never Yokozuna.
Well, see, I've kind of been looking at different scenarios here, and where they're going to put Al Nishiki on the east side with the better record, that slots Koto Sakura back on the west. And his best finishes as Ozeki have come from the west side. Will we see him improve just because he's going back to the west?
Maybe.
You know, it's unpredictable. I mean, depending on how injuries and everything go, like they can shuffle people around if they have to. But I mean, he had his best Bashos as Ozeki against that Eastern contingent.
Would you agree, though, that he's pretty much filled in that gap that Taka Keisho left behind?
Yeah, I think he's a little too young to retire. I mean, obviously, he was nursing some injuries.
Taka Keisho was in his very early 30s. Like, Taka Keisho won his first Yusho, he was 23, going on 24. And I believe Taka Keisho was no more than 30, 31, something like that.
Yeah, Koto Sakura will be turning 29 this year. You know, I mean, those are big shoes to fill. There's going to be a lot of pressure too. I mean, you know, with your father and his grandfather. His grandfather was a Yokozuna, and he took that namesake. I don't know if the pressure has maybe got to him.
I think so. Do you think he has a snowball's chance in hell at making Yoko?
I think he's a very good sumo wrestler. I think he, you know, it really depends on Onosato.
That's not the best way to.
No, but what I mean is,
I personally, I don't think he gets it. I think he's reached his ceiling at Ozeki.
I think I'm conflicted because if Onosato isn't healthy, and you know what I mean, like it kind of does depend on that a little bit, because if they might be a little bit more lenient if they do want a Yokozuna on that side. Because I mean, you know, like he was just as good as Onosato there for a couple Bashos. You know, those two were going after each other, and I think he just got hurt at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I'm interested. There's a lot of unpredictability in the next Basho. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of, can this guy, could that guy? And then you also have to think, like, there's a lot of guys in that middle pack that are good. Like, Shishi just had probably one of the best tournaments he's ever had.
Yep, at the top division, yeah, because Shishi's problem would do great in Juryo, come up to the main rankings, and kind of shit the bed, and then go back down, and then he'd do good there and come back up, and now he's kind of like found a steady home in the Magashira ranks, you know?
Yeah, and there's always new competition too. That's the other thing. Like, I mean, Yoshino Fuji and Fujino Kawa both had great tournaments. Kirishima just had a really good tournament. I
believe he's in contention now to go back to Ozeki.
Ozeki, yeah.
Yeah.
He got the Fighting Spirit prize.
Yes.
I don't know who won all the prizes. That's one thing I did forget to check out.
I was looking at it earlier, but I didn't write anything down. I do know there was a lot of Kimboshis given out because there were 10 in grand total.
I think so, something like that.
Because both Onosato and Hoshoryu went... Or no, there would have been 9. Because a Yokozuna can't win a Kimboshi. So...
Yoshino Fuji won Outstanding Performance.
Yeah. And
this is an interesting that. He has now collected at least one special prize in 3 of his 4 career tournaments in the top division.
No, that's interesting. Do you think he stays in the top division? Like, I think he ended with an 8-7, right? So he did get a Kashikochi.
He was a very, very strong Juryo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that. Like, he's been up. I mean, you look at his Juryo stats. He won 14-1, 13-2. It was actually a better Juryo than he was a Makushita, which is ironic.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's won 11-4, 9-6, 2 8-7s. I think that there's a little bit of skill that he can work on. You know, he's still a little bit on the smaller side compared to some of the top guys. He just doesn't seem to have that grit. I mean, Aonishiki has all the grit and force in the world, but I think there's a lot of guys that are catching on to that. Like it seems like there's different methods of sumo now where a lot of guys kind of have their own thing.
What I was going to mention with Aonishiki, he has this finishing move, I guess you could call it, that we've seen, like, I think it's what really got eyeballs on him, is his pull down method, where he just, like, pull a guy down, like grab him by the mawashi and down they go to their knees. You know, we've seen Ura have a few different slip-aways and gets the win. For March, what do you see happening?
Well, I was going to ask you a question there first, and I'm going to answer that question. You mentioned about mawashis. Now, Nishiki changed his mawashi to black there, I think on day 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Do you think there's obviously something behind that? They're talking about a stable master. You know, that's the mawashi he wore, allegedly.
And apparently it was the same material and all that, so it's like an identical...
So, do you think when they change the mawashis, there's some subliminal messaging behind that? Because, I mean, Kotozakura has done that multiple times now.
I think it's a luck... Like, Japan is very superstitious.
Yeah.
I think it's a luck thing if you're getting a lot of bad luck with that. To me, I kind of look at colored mawashis as almost like their gimmick. I forget his name, but there was a Yokozuna, and he was his technique was he was good with his left hand during matches, and he wore a golden mawashi, so his nickname was the Golden Left. And his gimmick was basically that he wore a golden mawashi. You look at Ura, always has the pink mawashi. I kind of like when they have like a colored mawashi, because when it's black, like it seems
it's easy.
Black. Yeah, well, black always seems to be like the color of success.
Right.
And I know black is not a color. It's
a shade, technically.
I guess white is all the colors, but black isn't. But, you know, you look at Takakeisho. He went black. Hoshoryu. Hoshoryu has a black mawashi. Hakuho always had a black mawashi. I think Onosato has a blue mawashi, right?
I think...
Or did he change that too?
He might have changed it. I don't remember.
I don't know. There's something... It's nitpicky. I get that.
Right.
But there's always something about watching sumo, and all of a sudden you see like a bright green mawashi, and you're like, oh, who's that?
Yeah. I was going to say that. I like Ichi Yamamoto, I think mainly because of that.
Yeah. There was... he just retired. Dayamami was one of the guys. He wasn't really good. He made it to the top division a few times, but his name always made me laugh. Dayamami. But he always had like a purple mawashi. And for some reason, I remember that from someone that didn't stay very long in the top division and then floundered really in the lower divisions for years after that.
Right.
But that's always something to me that mattered. I don't know why. I think that's why Uda's one of my favorites. And even Shishi, I think Shishi went to a black mawashi where he had like a baby blue forever. Yeah. That's one of the things that I looked at and I was like, oh man, I enjoyed that.
He looks a lot more fierce with the black though.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's got a pasty white skin.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's got that black, so there's like the yin to the yang almost. But
you had mentioned about people like with short stints in like the top division and the lower divisions. As you know, I watch a lot of the lower divisions. I still haven't forgot about your question. We just kind of got into different topics that are kind of together.
This works for me. Go for it.
But we were talking before this about how many you think will be moved down to Juryo.
Yeah.
I think you're right about 3. I say maybe 4. There's a couple that could. But I think Kinbozan and Tomokaze and Hatsuyama for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Wakanosho won Juryo, but he was Juryo 11, so I don't believe he qualifies to be moved up.
No. Who won the Juryo title?
Wakanosho.
It was Wakanosho, okay. So with Juryo, is it like the main, like an Ozeki needs 2 Yushos to get Una to win Juryo titles to go up top division?
From what I understand, like I watch it, but I try to keep track of that stuff. But not a lot of people talk about it, so I really don't know. But I'm pretty sure you need to be Juryo 5 or more. Okay. So you either need to have, like, to move up, you need Kachikoshi, obviously. Like, if you are, like, Juryo 18, and it's the same that way. It's the same like that across the board, I believe. I don't know so much about the lower divisions. Because, like, Jonidan, I think you just win and then you're moved up.
Well, the very lower divisions, it's not a full 15 days, right?
No, it's only 7. Yeah,
7, right? That's
Juryo and Makanochi are the 2 that have the 15 days.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I think with Juryo, it's just I'm gonna try to find out. I've been asking more questions about Juryo this tournament. Like, shout out Leo Dickinson.
Yeah,
he answers a lot of questions.
He is on Twitch. He's where I watch every morning. I wake up, cup of coffee, Leo Dickinson on. I usually skip to the main Basho due to time, because 9 hours is a lot, and I usually skip to the matches, which is, I don't listen to a lot of what Leo says because I am skipping through it.
Right.
But Leo's a real hero.
I would say Fuji Sayun will probably move up. He had a pretty good tournament. I'm trying to find his record here. But I believe it was enough to move him up. That's the thing too. Like, yes, somebody could have a bad Basho in the top tournament, in the top division. Yeah. But if nobody has a good tournament in Juryo and they're Juryo 5 or up, nobody's getting moved up. I watched Sadanomi a lot in Juryo this time around. He looks good. I don't know if he's going to make it back to the top. But yeah, Wakanosho will probably be Juryo 5 or higher to be eligible next after winning. Just a couple notes, like Enho came back from that neck fusion surgery, I believe. Yeah. He will not return to Juryo yet. He had a pretty good showing, but he went 6-1, not 7-0 to get that. If he would have won, I think, with a 6-1, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Nobuhara won, but he was Makushita 54, so I don't know if we'll see him. And Mita, I think Mita hurt his leg a couple Bashos ago. I think he fell off the doyo.
That the one where to me.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think if I'm correct, I think he fell off the doyo and broke his leg.
Yeah, I remember that. Like it bent the wrong way and everything, right?
Yeah, they're saying that he might be back in July.
Yeah.
And yeah, Nabatame came back. He went 5-2. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for notes in the lower divisions. I watch a lot of the bottom three, but the winners were so low ranked that I don't know. The guy that won Jonokuchi, I do know that went to a playoff. This was only his second Basho ever, and he won. So
Yeah.
I'm to say.
In March. I'm gonna make like try to watch at least Jurio.
Yeah,
Because I'm missing a lot by not watching Jurio.
I watch a lot of Don Sumo because he does those top 10 and 10 for Makuchi, but he does top 5 for Jurio just because it's lesser. I think there's half the amount of Rikishi. But back to your question about March, I think
March.
I would like to see a multi-man playoff. I want Aonishiki as an Aonishiki fan from my first Basho in the lower divisions. I want to see him win and get that Yokozuna promotion. But
I agree.
I don't want it to. I want it to be dramatic a little bit.
It depends on Onosato.
Yeah.
Onosato is healthy. Just wrecks shop. If Onosato's not there, you got this big opportunity if you're Aonishiki. I remember one of the I think it would have been 2024. Or I think it would have been January 2024. Takakeisho. He had just won the Kyushu Basho. And he was up for Yokozuna promotion in January and he shit the bed. And that's what you absolutely cannot do.
I think it'd be interesting how they do the schedule too. Because typically Aonishiki won't fight Onosato till like day 13 or later.
Yeah.
So if he wins let's say the only loss he has is to Onosato. Because realistically, he's not going to fight Hoshoryu till the last day. And if they're even close. Like if Hoshoryu is like, I don't know, 9-5, they're not probably going to match them up. It's all going to depend on what the standings look like. So I think if Aonishiki comes out guns a-blazing like he does every other time, and wins those really early matchups and can win at least like 90% or 80% of those second weeks before he gets Onosato. I mean, 13-2 should put him in pretty good standing.
Absolutely. It depends. Can he live up to the pressure too?
Yeah.
Some people crumble under the pressure. Can he live up to that? We will see in March.
But that I really do want to see a multi-man playoff. Like that playoff this time added some drama. I like the playoffs. I don't like it so much when we already know who won.
Yeah, they're rare though. Like I feel like we've seen them a lot lately. Like in the last few years, I remember there was a 3-way playoff. It was Hatsu, Abi, and it was Takeisho, and that's the one where Abi won by using his famous Henka. And Abby's my least favorite. Richie, I can't stand him. Every time he's going up against someone that's really like they're in contention, it's make or break. There goes Abi with his Henka, and out that guy goes and just ruins the tournament for him. So I can't stand Abi.
I'm indifferent. I like everybody.
So with that being said, go for it.
There's nobody I don't think that I don't like.
Abi.
I mean, obviously, there's people I don't watch as much, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've got.
Same here. With that being said, end of this episode, 2026, we're going to try to do at least the end of the Basho. It all depends. I work seasonal in May and June, and in July and not July, but August and September. During these 4 months, there's a Basho each. We will be back in March, hopefully. I will be trying to do some Sumo Legends episode. I know 2 came out already. So we're going to be trying being active on this channel a little bit more. No promises. We got other things on our plate, and this is really when we have time. So, Connor, thank you for being here.
No problem, man. Thanks for, having me.
Well, it's as much your channel as it is mine. So with that being said, we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.